Welcome back everyone. Today we'll recap a 2019 supernatural horror film named The Queen of Black Magic. Before we start, it is a request to please like and comment on the video as it will help us to grow our reach. At the beginning of the movie, we see 𝐀𝐋𝐿, who is going to his old orphanage with his wife Nadia and 3 kids, to see 𝐁𝐃𝐏𝐵𝐵𝐵𝐵, his bedridden former caretaker. Suddenly 𝐀𝐋𝐿 runs over something, due to which they all get terrified. He gets out of the car and starts checking around, and Sandy sees a dead deer there. They think that they might have hit the deer, so they go back. But we see an injured girl lying on the other side of the road in an unseen trench. Now in the evening, they reach the orphanage where they meet Mammon. Mammon is his childhood friend and now he is orphanage caretaker. Then Mammon's wife Sadie comes out and she also lived in the orphanage since childhood. Then 𝐀𝐿's friends Anton and Jeffrey also reach there, and they are accompanied by their wives Eva and Lena respectively. Now inside, Mammon tells 𝐁𝐿 that 2 kids are in orphanage and the rest have gone on a trip by bus. He then introduces Caspi and Ronnie to 𝐁𝐿, and 𝐁𝐿 introduces them to his children. After this, 𝐁𝐿 brings Nadia to meet Mr. Bandy, but he reacts very strangely on seeing her. When checking the children into their rooms, Caspi mocks Ronnie, who was left at the orphanage by her mother but is sure she will return. Dina asks him about a room, to which he says that it has not been open for a long time. Later, 𝐁𝐾𝐒 goes toward that room and tries to open the door, but then Ronnie comes there. She tells him about the club-footed Mira, a caretaker who went insane claiming that a runaway girl named Myrnie had been spirited by a demon. Thinking Mira had killed Myrnie, they locked her in that room until she died. Now all of them are looking through their old photo album in orphanage. When 𝐁𝐾𝐒 finds an old album under a cupboard, he sees that all the photos in that album are backward. And when Anton asks him for that album, he finds a photo in it, and tells 𝐁𝐾𝐒 that it is Miss Mira. 𝐁𝐾𝐒 asks him about the one who became crazy and then locked in a room, to which Anton tells him that she fell sick and passed away. He tells him about Myrnie, one of their friends. He says that she went missing, but 𝐁𝐾𝐒 asks him if she was murdered by Miss Mira and buried in the forest. Later, 𝐁𝐿 finds a piece of cloth stuck on his car, and a tuft of hair is also on the bonnet hood. Fearing he ran over a person, 𝐁𝐿 takes Jeffrey to the collision site, where Jeffrey sees the girl and tells 𝐁𝐿 that she is dead. Now both of them get very scared by this, and only then does 𝐁𝐿 see a bus there. He goes to check inside the bus where he finds the orphanage children dead and their condition was very bad. Jeffrey also comes after him and sees those dead children, and seeing this, he gets very scared. 𝐁𝐿 tells him that there is no signal on his phone and they can't just leave them there. They decide that they will reach the orphanage and call the police from there. Here Nadia notices that orphanage's phone is not working. Now they are all having dinner when we see Lena is not having dinner, and Eva is spraying something in her hand. Anton tells that a few months ago, she had a rash on her body but it turned out her skin was just dry. Here 𝐁𝐾𝐒 tells Ronnie that he saw Miss Mira in the photo. Ronnie tells him that she also has a video that she can show him. Now after dinner, Ronnie shows him the videotape in which he sees Miss Mira, who is walking with a limp. But Ronnie stops the video and says that he might have nightmares and won't be able to sleep. Here 𝐁𝐿 and Jeffrey come back to the orphanage and Anton sees that they are very nervous. They ask him to check the back of the car, and Anton gets terrified seeing that girl's body there. 𝐁𝐿 tells him that he had hit a little girl on the way, and he also saw a bus. Orphanage children were inside that bus and they are all dead. Anton tells them to call the police and also tells them that orphanage's phone is not working. Now Anton decides to go to that location first and then stop by the police station. Here Caspi and Ronnie tell the children that this room was used as an orphanage bedroom, but they stopped using it since they hear footsteps around the room. Now Anton reaches the place where he too sees that bus. He goes inside that bus and sees that all the children are standing. Then suddenly the door closes and he sees a woman outside. An egg breaks from his foot, from which insects start coming out, and now the children had also turned towards him. Those insects start crawling on him and enter inside his mouth, due to which he dies terribly. Here in the house, Nadia comes to 𝐁𝐿 to ask when they are leaving, and only then a beheaded chicken falls on the table behind them. Seeing this, both of them gets quite shocked. Here Lena tries to be romantic, but Jeffrey stops her and says that this is not the right place. Lena tells him that she is taking hormone treatment as she is gaining weight due to unstable hormones. Then she comes out where she hears some sound. She sees that this sound was being made by a knife. She picks up that knife and cuts fruit and starts eating it. Then she stands in front of a mirror. Here Eva is lying in her room when some centipedes fall on her and enter her clothes. They start crawling on her body and then enter inside her mouth. Here Lena starts cutting her fat with that knife. She felt that her body fat was being reduced by this, but we see that she had injured herself fatally. Just then Jeffrey comes there and gets horrified to see her in this condition. He asks her to put down the knife, and when Lena comes to her senses, she faints seeing herself like this. Hearing her voice, 𝐀𝐋𝐖𝐀𝐃 and Nadia come there and start taking her to the hospital. Outside, Eva is choking badly and she is unable to speak. She spits blood on Nadia's face and then vomits blood with many centipedes. Then some centipedes start crawling under her skin and she tears her arm with her own hand. And then she faints. Here Caspy is trying to shoot a rat with a gun, but Dina stops him to do so. Caspy asks her to leave from there and also abuses her. Here Nadia and others are going to the hospital, but they notice that they have been driving in circles. Now seeing this, Jeffrey tells 𝐀𝐋𝐖𝐀𝐃 that it's happening again. Nadia asks him what's going on. 𝐀𝐋𝐖𝐀𝐃 now tells her that 25 years ago, there was a fire in one of the rooms in the orphanage. 3 girls died in that, and not long after that, they found out that Miss Mira was using black magic. She burned those girls as a sacrifice. They tried to run away because they were scared, but every time they ran, they would always end up back at the orphanage. Eventually, Mr. Bandy captured Miss Mira with their help and they locked her up. She kept banging on the door with her head, and when they opened the door, she was already dead with her head cracked open. They then buried her in that same room and poured concrete over the ground. Here, some unseen force starts controlling Husby and it gets him to grab a stapler, and then it staples his mouth with it. On the other hand, 𝐾𝐄𝐒 starts watching the videotape, but only then the live footage starts playing in it, in which Miss Mira comes limping into the same room where he is sitting. He sees her reflection on the TV screen, but there is no one behind, and when he looks in front, he sees her feet there and she is standing behind the TV. 𝐾𝐄𝐒 gets very scared seeing this and comes out from there. There he sees Caspy, whose mouth is stapled with stapler pins, and that unseen force forces him to pick up the gun and makes him shoot 𝐾𝐿𝐒. Meanwhile, Nadia and the rest of the people return to the orphanage, and she starts looking for the children. She finds Dina and Sandy, but 𝐾𝐿𝐒 was not there. Now they all start looking for 𝐾𝐿𝐒, and here 𝐀𝐃 tells Nadia that all the other children of the orphanage have been killed in the bus accident. Then Dina and Sandy come there and tell them that they did not find 𝐾𝐿𝐒. Outside, Jeffrey sees that Lena is not in the car and he starts looking for her. He sees that she is sitting some distance away, and when he goes to her, she is eating caterpillars. Jeffrey gets shocked seeing this, and when Lena comes to her senses, she faints in fear. Here Nadia goes to Mr. Bandy's room where she sees a woman going under the bed. When she looks under the bed, she finds a box there, and there are some photos in that box, seeing which Nadia becomes very shocked and sad, and she sees that Mr. Bandy is looking at her angrily. Here 𝐀𝐃 is looking for 𝐾𝐿𝐒 when Nadia comes to him. She gives him those photos and asks who are these girls in the photos. 𝐀𝐃 tells her that they were all her friends, and these inappropriate photos were clicked by Mr. Bandy. Nadia doubts that Miss Mira was protecting those girls, that's why she was killed. Now 𝐀𝐃 says it seems as if someone is trying to take revenge. Just then Dina gives them a photo, and that photo is of 𝐀𝐒. And 𝐀𝐃 remembers that they were invited here by Mammon and 𝐀𝐒. Here Jeffrey brings Lena inside the house and says that they have to take Lena to the hospital. 𝐀𝐃 reminds him that they can't escape this place. He shows him that photos and asks him who invited him there. Only then do Mammon and 𝐀𝐒 come running there and tell him they can't find 𝐾𝐿𝐒 anywhere. Jeffrey angrily attacks Mammon, and Nadia points a knife at them and asks them why did they invite them here. 𝐀𝐃 shows them those photos, and here 𝐀𝐒 reveals that Pac Bandy molested every girl, and was the one who burned the 3 girls as a warning for them, so they would not say anything. She spilled hot water on her face on purpose so that he would not touch her again. Miss Mira resorted to black magic just to protect the girls. She was planning to kill Mr. Bandy, but then he framed her, until finally she was locked up by 3 of them. Just then the girl in 𝐀𝐃's trunk, Mustika, wakes up and comes inside the house. She tells them they were on the way home, and suddenly the bus lost control. The bus was intercepted by a woman who jinxed everyone to death, but she was unaffected because she did not hear the spell through her headphones. She immediately ran out but was hit by 𝐀𝐃's car. Now 𝐀𝐃 gets very angry and goes straight to Bandy's room and starts throttling him. But Nadia stops him from doing so and calms him down, and says that they need to find 𝐾𝐿𝐒 and leave this place. 𝐀𝐃 finds a photo of Miss Mira there with a newborn baby girl named Myrnie, and now he understands that Myrnie is doing all this. Then he hears some sound from outside and he sees that Caspi has come there with the injured 𝐀𝐃𝐄𝐒. 𝐻𝐃 picks him up and says that they have to leave now. They all come out of the house. But only then possessed Eva come there. She says this is what it feels like to lose the people you love, but suddenly she comes to her senses and asks them what happened to her. She then falls there and starts banging her head on the windshield glass and then faints. 𝐻𝐃 now asks Murney to stop, and only then does she appear there. She levitates in the air and moves towards them. Now she starts to punish 𝐻𝐃, and Nadia tries to stop her, but Rani knocks her down. After some time, when Nadia regains consciousness, she hears the screams of everyone else. Here Eva's back becomes very strange and insects start coming out of it. Jeffrey tries to approach Lena, but an invisible force breaks her fingers and arm. Here in the other room, it was raining hot water on the rest of the people, due to which they were burning badly. Nadia feels very helpless as she was not able to help them. Only then does she hear her children's screams, and she finds Sandy and Dina getting tortured in another room. Nadia gets very sad seeing all this, and she goes to another room where 𝐻𝐃, Bandy, and 𝐀𝐃 are there. Only then Murney attacks her and knocks her down. Now here Murney says that her mother wanted her to stay pure, away from the dirty hands of Mr. Bandy, but she failed. She then says that they will all die tonight. Here we also learn that Rani is Murney's daughter, and she takes out the sickle from Mr. Bandy's body and puts it in front of Nadia. Nadia tries to attack Murney with that sickle, but she stops her. She tells her to kill her husband and she will release her children. 𝐻𝐃 tells her to save the children, but only then 𝐀𝐃 stabs Murney from behind. And when Murney angrily proceeds to kill him, Nadia attacks her and decapitates her. But soon she comes back to life and says they all will die. Her body gets up, lifts her head, and reattaches on her body. Now she starts moving toward them again, but Nadia throws a candle at her and immolates her. She stumbles into the incapacitated pack Bandy. Bandy calls for help, but 𝐻𝐃 ignores him and lets him burn to death for all his sins. In the epilogue, Nadia sees a brief apparition of Murney when picking up 𝐀𝐃 from school. Meanwhile, in the now sold orphanage building, sounds of Mira's clubfoot echo in its halls. Please like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon never to miss new video updates. Thanks for watching!